Today I am reading Chapter 7 of the Candy Corn Contest. It was guessing time. Emily Arrow had 4 guesses. Don Bosco and Wayne had 7. Timothy Barbero had 21. How many guesses do you have? Matthew asked Richard. Richard felt his new tooth. It was getting bigger. Matthew turned and poked him. I said, 1, Richard said. 1 guess. Luckier than me, Matthew said. I don't even have 1. Richard looked at Matthew. Suddenly he wanted to hit Matthew right on his fat nose. Matthew was spoiling his whole Thanksgiving sleepover party. Emily Arrow leaned over the jar. 901, she said. Miss Rooney shook her head. 942. Miss Rooney shook her head. Emily stared at the jar. She counted a little bit. 611. Miss Rooney smiled. No such number, Emily. Richard held his breath. Emily looked down at her red sneakers. 300, she said slowly. 48, no, 9. 349. Sorry, Emily, said Miss Rooney. Richard crossed his fingers. Suppose someone won before he changed the number. Matthew poked him again. I hope you win, beast, he said. I have all my fingers crossed and all my toes. Me too, Richard said. Timothy Barbero was getting ready to guess. He looked as if he were thinking very hard. Too hard. Richard thought 21 guesses were a lot. Timothy started his guesses. Everyone in the class looked worried, but Timothy was wrong. Matthew smiled at Richard. At last, it was Richard's turn. Richard best, said Mrs. Rooney. 1 guess. 4, 1 guess, Don Bosco said. That's all. Timothy Barbero started to laugh a little. You need only 1 guess to win, Matthew said. That's right, said Miss Rooney. Richard swallowed hard. Should he say 700? Should he say 900? He took a deep breath. 400, he said. He watched Miss Rooney's face. She started to shake her head. And 60, Richard added. I'm sorry, Miss Rooney said. 62. Miss Rooney tapped the top of the jar. I'll give you a hint. Everyone is guessing too many. Richard sighed. He should have guessed 300. Everyone opened his book. Everyone wanted to read as fast as he could. Richard wanted to read too, but he couldn't stop thinking about a sleepover. He took out a piece of drawing paper. He drew a circle for a head. He made a long balloon body. Then he put stick-out ears on the circle. It looked like Matthew. It made Richard angry to look at it. Matthew was spoiling the whole sleepover. Richard was sick of sitting in back of Matthew. He was sick of smelling him all day long. He took a black crayon out of his desk. Then he drew a big X over the boy in his drawing. He'd like to draw a big X over Matthew. Thanks for staying for this chapter. See you tomorrow. Bye.